In today's video, I'll show you how bad I am with front flippers and also talk about this very cool and elegant G5 Metamorph by RealSteel knives that comes with one of the nicest Damascus patterns I've ever seen. Hey everyone, welcome to Salvo EDC. This is my first review in 2024 and I can't wait to tell you everything about this absolute beauty of a knife. But first, I'd like to ask you to support me by liking this video and also checking out my Instagram where I post my coolest knife pictures every day. So, before the New Year's Eve party, my girlfriend instructed me that people usually wear something red for the occasion. She meant clothes, but I heard knives, so there was me at the table with my flashy Burgundy Micarta front flipper, and carrying this knife was just another good reason to have the party. I mean, this Metamorph is pretty fun. It comes with a pretty cool Damascus blade, micarta scales, and super fidget-friendly front flipping action. This BladeHQ exclusive RealSteel is also very good looking, as it was designed by Ostap Hel, who's one of my favorite designers in the knife space. This design has many versions, and the most recent iteration comes with a button lock and a thumb stud, and in general the Metamorph family comes with a huge variety of blade steels, grip materials, and it also has a smaller 3-inch version too. However, from the whole bunch, I prefer this exact knife the most. This is a heavily limited BladeHQ exclusive edition, and I don't know the exact batch size, but mine came with a serial number 18, so probably there are not so many of these out there. This was the very first front flipper I've ever got, and in the beginning it was quite a challenge to open it, as front flippers are not so straightforward like opening holes or thumb studs. But after I got the hang of it, I started enjoying this knife very much. And now it is kinda grown on me. After some practice I can open this thing many ways, and I enjoy very much that this front flipper tab allows the Metamorph to become a very elegant and sleek knife, as the entirety of this blade is completely concealed by the scales when the knife is closed. The Metamorph was super smooth right from the start, by the way. I've never tuned this pivot, and I've never ever had to lubricate it either. I don't know how RealSteel puts together these ball bearings, but they definitely work in a magical way. And if we already talk about action, I must admit that in general I despise liner locks, but the G5 Metamorph somehow nails it. The liner connects with the back of the blade a lot better than the 99% of the garbage liner locks that I tried so far. The generous amount of travel distance also makes the specific liner lock smooth and tactile. These features clearly make me feel a lot safer when I use the Metamorph, and I also don't necessarily want to beat down on a gentleman's knife for the lock. Because of the sleek nature of this elegant design, liner lock was pretty much the only thing we could get. Especially if I factor in these fancy micarta scales. And I know many people prefer micarta for their outdoors and survival tools, but I think way differently, because I don't enjoy micarta soaking in the dirt, blood and all kinds of game juice. Plus my brain associates the smooth and clean look of micarta with elegance. So the only place I truly enjoy micarta grips is on classy knives like this one. And it also has a great harmony with the Balbachdamast. Having micarta on a front flipper also makes a lot of sense, because this grip material is about traction, and in my opinion, with a front flipper, some added friction is a good idea to guarantee a smooth opening. I genuinely love the idea of this knife, and it works like a dream. However, the build quality is somewhat inconsistent across the board, and I clearly see room for improvement for RealSteel. First things first, I want to mention that when I got my Metamorph, it was soaked in some kind of a weird greasy white thing that was either wax or some kind of lubrication. I tried to clean it off as well as I could, but for the sake of this video I left some in the lanyard area so you guys could see. I also don't like this very significant flex on the micarta scales. In my opinion, RealSteel didn't use the best quality liners when they built this very model, and if I really wanted to, I could bend this knife into a banana shape. So I'd never carry this knife in my back pocket where I might sit on it. This is a shame, because in my opinion this flawless design would have deserved better quality hardware. This micarta flex amuses me also because this knife has the longest backspacer in my entire knife collection, and I love how cool it looks. It starts at the very end of the knife and it stretches across the entirety of these scales all the way up to the stop pin. And this very design feature could provide all the necessary support for the scales not to flex. But at least the blade stays centered despite this problem. The philosophy of this pocket clip is also very nice, and I genuinely enjoy how it was designed. If you think about it, This very clip and backspacer combination makes the G5 Metamorph appear like a pen whenever it's in my pocket. And such a design element makes this knife look very innocent, which is pretty cool. However, this clip comes with 2 giant screws, and those very often catch into my clothing. This is very frustrating, as I'd love to also carry this knife with my very pricey custom-made 3-piece suits. But now, let's flick this knife open and talk about what everyone was waiting for, which is this beautiful 3.5-inch long Balbach Damast blade. And I can say with great confidence that I love every aspect of this steel. It looks amazing, but it also performs really well. This specific material is called Leo1, which is a non-stainless Damascus steel with 320 layers. The composite is manufactured traditionally by hand in a composite welding process, and it's forged from the cannon barrel steel of the Leopard 1 tank, which is the coolest thing I've ever heard. If you don't know these origins, I'll quickly tell you that Balbachdamast is a German company that operates from different cities in the country. However, they perform the most significant part of their operations in Solingen, which is a very famous city for its high-quality steel manufacturing. This is the same place where Boker comes from, just so you know. Besides the cool material, the Metamorph is also backed by its super high-performance geometry. I'd call it a drop point, as it has a tiny bit of a belly and it comes with a thin blade stock and a full flat grind. Not to mention this extremely pointy and acute tip. This blade style has a serious gentleman carry DNA, and I love how the looks combo with function on this knife. You can definitely do some EDC work with the Metamorph, however in my opinion it excels at fine tasks such as cutting paper, opening boxes, and the way this blade shape makes me hold the knife, I can imagine that the Metamorph is also pretty good at prepping meals. And overall, I'm super pleased with how this blade cuts. The only thing I have to note here is that in my understanding, this Damascus mix is in tool steel territory, so I recommend using some kind of a rust inhibitor if you wanna cut into fruits or veggies. But with proper treatment, I highly recommend this knife to anyone. And you guys will surely see this knife a lot in the near future, because this is my current go-to for elegant occasions. I'll also feature this knife in an upcoming Damast steel project, as I just got a very similar looking lanyard bead, and shortly we will etch this bead together using DIY methods like mustard or instant coffee. So, if you don't want to miss that project, make sure you subscribe. Until that video arrives, I invite you to check out some other pretty cool and fidget-friendly flipper knives that compare super well with the G5 Metamorph. One of them is the Archeo from Artisan Cutlery, and the other one is the Sparrow from Dagger Knives. Both of them are pretty cool, and you can check out my reviews on them if you click on these cards. Thank you for watching today's video all the way, and I'll see you in the next one. This was my very first